So I love to set goals. I like to envision those goals. I like to meditate. I like to sort of visualize how things are going to happen before they happen. I think that's been very helpful to me in my career, and I've always done that my whole career. And I think that in order for us to see real change in the business world, not just the commercial real estate world, we have to be able to envision something that is completely different than what we are experiencing today, I think. And I think that we need to overcorrect in our envisioning. Meaning, I think that we need to envision a world where there are more women CEOs than men. There are more women who own companies than men. There are more women who own sports teams than men. There are more women politicians than men. Like, I think we need to go way over and overcorrect on what things could look like for women if we envision that. And it's not an easy thing to do because it's not anything any of us have ever seen before. But if you think about how we are raised and the unstated social acceptance of just behavioral patterns that are kind of cultural norms that we accept, there's a lot that I think we don't even notice that is happening. There are people who are marginalized, and there are those who are marginalized who go along with it because we don't even realize that it's happening. So, like, for instance, there is, has anybody ever heard of a woman named Abby Wambach? She's a soccer player. Okay, so Abby Wambach is the most decorated women's soccer player in America. She was on the women's national team. She was on the Olympic team. She's got several gold medals. When she made the women's national team, she was just so happy to be on the team that she didn't push back on salary at all. Now, this was at a time when women were making like $40,000 to $80,000 a year on the team, and men were making somewhere between $80,000 and $300,000. So there was a big disparity. There's a difference. And so then you naturally think, oh, well, that's because more people watch the men than the women. Not true. From 2016 until now, they are selling more tickets to the women's games than they are to the men's games. So and Abby Wambach says that when she made the team, she was just so happy to be on the team, and the team, by the way, was owned by men, run by men, and she was just glad to be a part of it. So it wasn't even ingrained in her to ask the question, should I be making more money? This is a woman who will fly vertically in front of the goal and hit the ball with her head while she is sideways into the goal. I mean, this woman is unbelievable as far as talent and what she can do. And if she's not thinking I should be paying more money, being paid more money, then what are we teaching our girls? Like, we need to change the way we think about things. So I think we need to envision something that's very, very different. And to just give an example of something that we all accept, right? So if you think about the color pink, whose color is that?
Mine.
I mean, from a gender perspective, it's a girl color, right? And then we think about boys. Blue is a boy's color. And it is so ingrained in us, it is such a cultural norm that those are the two colors for boys and girls. I mean, I know people are doing their nurseries in yellow now so that they don't have that bias, but if you think about those two colors and you flipped them and you said, okay, boys now are pink, girls now are blue, and that's how we are going to move through the world, pink and blue. You want to know what boys would do? I promise you. They would go, oh yeah, we're pink, and we're badasses, and we're learning everything that we can until we're 13 and we become men, and then we turn into red, and then we bust it. And then we rule the world with red. Like, it's that kind of like flipping the things that we accept in life that we need to do. to make significant change in our lives. And I think that it starts with, I'm looking at the pregnant woman, how we raise our kids, how we raise our, I know you're having a boy, but if you were having a girl, how we raise our daughters, how we treat them, how we teach them how to walk through the world, and how we tell them to expect more. There are 3 people on this panel who said, I was raised to expect that there's no difference in gender, and that goes for every marginalized group. That goes for people of color, that goes for people. Abby Wambach, by the way, is gay, so she also had a I don't really belong here sort of mentality, so she wasn't thinking I should be asking for more. We gotta just change all that. All that needs to be flipped on its head, I think. My humble opinion.
So every person out here that's on a salary, if you don't go immediately back to your office and ask for more, Jen was being very disappointed. Anybody else want to slide in on it? Well, that's good.
It also reminds me, I know we have a question regarding value and what you charge for people. And I also after Brinker days, I was doing a lot of consulting work, and I feel now working on another consulting project. I probably would have charged, my own company maybe in the 10-20,000, because we whipped up that assessment so quickly. They asked for 6 figures, and they paid for it, and I was like completely shocked. So we still today lower our value until we see somebody else doing it. And I'm like, hell with that, man. Next time I'm doing consulting, it's like 6 figure. I mean, so
Yeah.
we really, really have to see what other people are doing and, step it up for sure.
Attorneys never lower their fees. Keep that in mind in whatever you're doing out there. That's a good point. Well, the other panel pretty much covered this, but this was one of our questions, and we have a couple of people here that would like to talk about, because as a matter of fact, when this question was brought up, Brooke said, it was like being in that little classroom where that goes, does anybody know the answer to this question? She goes, I do. So the big 3 buzzwords are, have been since 2021 was diversity and, what is the E stand for? Equity. I put exclusion and inclusion, so what do I know, but, when we were on the telephone, Brooks was saying that CB's been very supportive in diversity, and she also used 2 words that I won't use up here. They're describing women out there that Jennifer used. She called them, I won't say it's bad rears, but so that's your question.
Okay.
What's the word?
Badass.
Badass.
See, I told you.
We were just
The reason I popped my hand up on this question is because I work at a Fortune 500 company. Prior to this company, I worked at another Fortune 500 company. And that's a huge blessing, because those companies have prioritized DE&I, and in a major way. We've got teams of people that work on this topic. We've got a lot of money focused on this topic. Not everybody in this room probably works for a company that's in that position. So what's really important, whether you're at one of those firms or a smaller firm, is boots on the ground, right? Because as much great work is being done at the top, it really comes down to the day-to-day, what's going on in every local office. Because in every office there can be these small biases, and Jennifer talked a little bit about it. I'll give a couple of examples. So for a long time in my career, my office tenant rep team that I was a part of had a 7:30 a.m. sales meeting every week, and it was like a badge of honor. We get up, we meet at 7:30 because that's how hardworking we are. And when I got the opportunity to take over the group, I moved it to 8:30 with no discussion, and I got some pushback. Well, it's always been at 7:30. I said, well, school doesn't start at 7:30, sir, and I need to get my kids to school. And you know what? We need to make that normal,
Yes.
right? We need to normalize the fact that people might have 2 careers in their households, and they need to get their kids out the door. So we made that change. Another silly change, earmuffs for the guys in the room. Tampons in the restroom, right? Okay, sometimes you're wearing a dress that doesn't have pockets. They need to be in the restroom. Making people feel like they belong, right?
Mm-hmm.
At even the most small, basic levels. That's the key, I think, to DE&I.
Interesting, totally.
Linda, I know Trek has been very committed. You had a huge committee that you had to work through, and increasing diversity and inclusion in the Dallas real estate community. Can you address some of that?
I'd love to, and I think it's also about what Jennifer said. It's, you have to see yourself there, and you also need to surround yourself with people that are diverse, because that just makes you a better person. We have a lot of initiatives that we've been working on it, but we've been working in communities of color for a really, really long time. And again, I'll just be candid, white people they're really conflicted about having honest conversations about race. And black people are saying, I'm over that, because that's my life, and the stuff that they put up with, and if I'm offending anybody, I don't mean to. We need to visually see every color sitting at the table. Just like we need more women in leadership, we need people of color in leadership. And they are no different, and we've all acknowledged women are just as smart as men. We can do anything. Smarter. So much better all around. Sorry. We just need to put more people. We just need to put more people around the table. So we are working at the high school level at Townview, teaching young people about the industry of commercial real estate, because as you all know, it's a very lucrative industry. My partner in crime, Jennifer Schmiels, with the Real Estate Council, she's leading our DE&I efforts. We've got Tim Disman from your company who's joining our board next year, because I'm super excited, because I think he's gonna lend a lot to the conversation about how you increase diversity within the business of the real estate industry. There's a lot of people that are doing things one by one, but this should be the way we should be doing business. It shouldn't be different if anybody of color or anybody that's a woman or man or whatever, if they can do the job, they should have the job. And I don't think I ever had a job that I didn't have to fight for myself, because in the male-dominated world, and it's really sad to me that still goes on. Every single day of your career, you're fighting to be able to succeed, and you're worth more, and people should pay you more, and people should recognize you for your achievements. And this goes across the board in terms of diversity, and that's equity. So the conversation about equity is really, really important. And then the issue of making people feel comfortable, those kinds of things, you're absolutely right. You have to make people feel comfortable. If they don't feel welcome, they're not gonna show up. And that's our biggest struggle, because we are a diverse industry, not as much as we need to be. We have 2,000 members, and when I look at the people that attend our programs and the people that raise their hands for boards are not people of color. And I wanna change that. Kim Butler's our chairman this year. A lot of you know Kim. She is passionate about this, and it's her highest priority for the industry. And so we're chipping away, but it's a long slog, but it's the same whenever you're different in a male-dominated industry. And I have the privilege of working with all these leaders in the industry, men and women, and every single year I get a new boss, which is really awesome. And I have a chance to get to know that person really, really well, which has really, really been a great benefit to me, and I've learned so much. But the issue of making sure that you have the right people at the table, you give everyone the opportunity, you open the door for them, you make them feel comfortable, and you actually do everything you can to encourage them to bring people in as well that are different. I think it's just all about being comfortable, and also who's at the table.
All right, so one of the things, and I'm not going to throw you under the bus, but I don't mean this as a bus statement, okay, Linda? But I did look at our on the TREC website.
I know.
I'm a TREC member, and we have, this is part of the thing that she has to deal with, okay? Because we had how many names of buildings and streets that we have that are men out there. We have 3 women on the board of directors. And then we had the big board, and then the non-voting board.
Right.
And then we had, and out of that, the majority, if you go on the side, is men. But part of it is, guys, I hate to tell you, we're not stepping up. And SIOR, which is predominantly men. I mean, I go to the I've been in there for 20 years. I go to the conferences, I go to the big parties that they have. I walked in and everybody thought I was somebody's wife. I mean, because why else was I there? Because, you know, there are no women brokers that are out in that particular marketplace. And so they have a magazine and they ask for people to write. And so I decided, well, you know, I'm gonna start writing. Well, every single issue I was in. And it was only because they had no choice. They were happy. I mean, at least they had one woman that was willing to write something for their articles or be interviewed for it. And I think, you know, REDnews is gonna hate me, but you pick up REDnews and you read it's men, 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 men. They reach out and ask ladies to write. You have a great idea, give them a call. They'd be more than happy if you can write a great article for them. They'll even help you write it. After you write it, they'll come back and, you know, make it look more professional for you. So I would say and you know, boards, people are not stepping up to be on boards like they need to. Or even asking the question, you know, coming up to Linda and say, all right, Linda, you know, I've been in business for 15 years. How do I become on maybe the non-voting board or the advisory board or whatever else out there? But I think we have got to step up. If we don't step up, 5 years from now, we're still gonna be sitting back here going, why aren't there more women involved for it? So, just FYI.
Well, I will tell you, a couple of years ago, we had a board meeting and we had been working steadily on trying to add more women to the board. And one of our male board members who was older said after a meeting, he said, I'm looking around the room, it doesn't look like the same room I'm used to being in, and I'm not comfortable. But, you know, as long as our colleagues.
Welcome to how we feel.
Right, as long as our colleagues are recommending their friends, or the sons of their children, their best friends, or the daughters of their best friends, that are they belong to the same club, they're doing all the same things, and they're in that same bubble, this industry is never gonna change. And I've actually gone to companies, large companies, and said, we would like to make sure we have representation for your company in this leadership class or this program. And they always give me the same people. And I had a member, a woman of color, who had gone through our program and our leadership program, and I wanted her to serve on a committee, and I went to her and I said, would you please serve on this committee? And she said, my company won't pay for my membership. So it happens at that level. Companies are not selecting people for opportunities, there you go, for opportunities for leadership. And so I could tell anybody in this room, if anyone ever says, and anyone in our board will tell you, if you ever say or tell me I want to be involved, you're gonna have a job, because I want people that want to have a job. But we have to engage people. The world around us is not lily white, and if we're gonna be successful as a business, as an industry, we better wake up and realize that we need to diversify our workforce. So I'm pretty passionate about this.
I also wanted to really highlight, to get really involved, is with your city politics, how we mentioned before.
Yes.
And so I'm with the city of Louisville and on the zoning board of adjustments, because I couldn't wait after attending all those P&Z and city council meetings to be on the other side. And they have so many great boards, and now, I mean, I just signed up, I had no idea what I was doing, and then I got elected, and now I'm the chair. I'm like, oh no. Really get involved with your city, starting at that level, or P&Z, city council, mayor, and just go on the website. They're always looking for people, and it's great to be part of your community to help.
And it goes back to Linda's comment earlier too, about really having open, honest conversations that are really, really tough conversations. And my company, we have I believe very, very strongly in diversity. I have a very, very diverse staff, majority female. And there was a comment on the earlier panel how a man comes, asks for a raise, and he checks half the boxes and says, well, I deserve the raise. A woman comes, not until she has every box checked. And I think that really goes back to representation absolutely matters. And what is the worst thing that can happen if you ask for that promotion, or you ask for more money, or you ask to serve on that board? You know, to Linda's comment and to Pamela's, there's these opportunities out there that, you know, people are just looking for people to participate and to get involved. And I think as women, often we are extremely fearful. We think, oh, well, we don't wanna stand out too much, or we don't wanna rock the boat, or, you know, oh, well, you know, what if it doesn't work out? Well, you know what? Who cares? What if it does? 90% of the time, even if that opportunity didn't work or didn't exist, it leads to something else. I cannot tell you how many times in my life that, you know, putting myself out there, maybe that didn't work, but it led to other things. Going back to getting involved, there's no better way to get involved than at the local level. You know, we talk about, you know, not to get into politics or national, you know, what's happening in our country, but when you get to the local level, that is where things really do impact you in every aspect of your life, whether it's your quality of life, whether it's your business, whether it's, you know, whether it's where you live, whether it's on a local level. And, you know, we live in a city where, less than 6% of the population on a good time votes. Think of that on a local level by getting involved, serving on committees. I know I've served on several committees with Linda. It really does make a difference. And back to the question about, you know, diversity and hard conversations, the reality is we are not set to the same expectation as our male counterparts. If you are female, if you are a person of color, we have had these conversations even with young people coming up in my office. You know, the hard conversation is that you are going to be set to a different expectation with how you dress, with how you look, with how you talk, with how you show up on time or don't show up on time. Some of these things are the basics. You are put under a microscope like nobody else. You know what? You gotta accept it to get ahead and to move forward, to make it easier for the next group. You know, I've been fortunate to be in a position now that I can speak a little louder, make a few more ruffles, because I can set the tone for the people coming after me. And those young folks, by stepping forward and making a difference and understanding those expectations to get ahead, will make it easier for the next group.
All right, we're gonna go to our last question. Can I do that? Well, can I do what was that? I need to. All right, as we wrap up, because it's really important. It's about the money, okay? Because we're all here about making money. And we're gonna talk about some tips and advice in negotiating your net worth. And I was gonna let Jennifer answer this question. However, so you have one takeaway with you, and I'm known as a prop queen whenever I do moderate things. I'm gonna show you physically one way she shows her clients that she's worth every single dime she gets paid, and I will tell you this, she does not, when somebody says, will you cut your commission? I know her answer already, but I'm not gonna answer for you, but it's probably, she won't do it. But I had a contest, and 4 people lost, 1 was a winner, and I looked at their bios. This is Jennifer's bio, if you can see it. It is colorful, it is graphic. She is standing there like she has an attitude. She writes about herself here. And these are all her achievements. If you ain't keeping track of every single one of your achievements, as Rookie of the Year was back down here, as I told you about a year on it, and all her credentials, every time she spoke and everything else is here, this is what she sent. All right, if I were to get this, if Jennifer would say, well, hire me, here's my bio, I would say, you know what? I think I want to meet her. You know, we're all doing these really short little bios, we want to be everything else. This woman here, go on her website. First of all, you won't find her website. It's under construction, I tried. But you will find her Instagram. I mean, it's got beautiful pictures on it. Her social media pages is just unbelievable. I spent a lot of time on it. So, and also you need to go see her first floor of her building. But anyhow, this is one of your tips on how what we're all interested in is making more money, is have a great looking bio. And Jennifer, that's why I asked for it. All right, thanks everybody.